Okay, so this is going to be my lesson plan for teaching Charity how to fix a crack, a chip, or a bullseye in a windshield. I am just going to go through these one at a time. I haven't organized them in any particular way, just the things that kind of came to me first. So to start out, misconceptions, undergeneralizations, and overgeneralizations. So one of the ways that I'm going to address these is to explain that there's more than one type of crack. There is chips, bullseyes, stress cracks, combination cracks, or combination breaks, floater cracks, bullseyes, and edge cracks. So I'm going to teach her the difference between all of those to get rid of any misconception that there's only one kind of crack in a windshield. As far as defining features and correlational features, that'll go along with there being multiple types of cracks. There are defining features of a bullseye or a chip or a stress crack, and there are correlational features between the three of them. So just understanding the difference between those. For her scheme and her schema, I'm just going to check for understanding. I'm going to figure out what she knows about cars in general, windshield repair, if she's ever done anything like this before, as in fixing a window before. And if she has, then I'm going to ask, how she done it in the past, what equipment has she used, and I'm going to teach her with the equipment that I have. Self-concept and self-efficacy, I'm going to ask how comfortable she is in fixing cracks, if she's confident in her ability to do it, if she's worried about, making it a worse problem than it is. Just kind of see where she is with her level of comfort and her level of ability. And then that kind of also goes along with trait anxiety, state anxiety, and debilitating and facilitating anxiety, and then just anxiety in general. Just if she is worried at all about fixing the crack, or as far as facilitating anxiety goes, does a crack in the windshield stress her out enough that she's like, I gotta fix this thing now? So kind of just going along those lines with anxiety. And attribution theory, so just kind of asking her, what causes cracks in the windshield, and then she'll respond with either external or stable or unstable or internal, or all those categories in the attribution theory. And then her working in short-term memory. So I'm going to introduce something right now that I'm going to refer back to quite a bit. So this is just the general introduction. So the way that I'm going to teach this lesson is a see one, do one, teach one. And basically that's a formula of being able to interact with a problem so that you see it completed. You see the solution found by an instructor first, and then you try to find the solution on your own, and then you teach someone else to find the solution. So what's going to happen is I'm basically going to give her some instruction, kind of familiarize her with the types of cracks, and then help her to distinguish between them, help her to use the equipment that we're going to be using to fix the crack. And then I'm going to have her watch me do it. She's going to be really closely observing. I'm going to be asking her questions as I go along. I'm going to be telling her, focus on how I'm putting in the resin into the container, and how far apart I drop the resin into a stress crack. So I'm just going to be engaging her while I do it, making sure she sees, and then I'm going to let her know before I begin, you'll be doing this after me, so make sure you're paying close attention. And then she's going to do it, and I'm going to be there to help her if she's really not sure, but for the most part, I'm just going to encourage her to kind of think back to what I had done. We're going to try to keep it we're going to try to keep teaching 1-on-1, so I'm not going to do a bullseye and then ask her to do an edge crack. I'm going to do a bullseye and then have her do a bullseye. And then she is going to teach someone else how to how to do it. And I think the person that I'm going to have do that is my fiance. He does not know how to fix windshields. So I think I'm going to bring him with me, and then she can teach him how to do it, and I'll be there to help. We'll kind of team teach that. But that's a good way to combat failure to retrieve and failure to store, because once you've taught someone how to do it, it's pretty ingrained in your memory. So that'll be kind of how I work with the potential problems with working in short-term memory. Is it's going to be repetition and different types of learning. As far as descriptive research, so I'm going to kind of explain to her like where people have the most issues, regionally where people have the most issues with cracks in their windshield, statistically how many, bullseyes or chips turn into cracks. And I know I've been using the word crack kind of as just a general term for all of the different types. So forgive me, I know that that's an overgeneralization, but it's just easier than saying chip, bullseye, edge crack, floater crack, combination break, and stress crack. So yeah, as far as descriptive research goes, I'm just going to kind of fill her in on how many people know how to fix a windshield, how many windshields chips turn into cracks, things like that, because people don't take care of them. And then correlational research, I'm going to explain kind of why and where windshield chips and cracks happen the most, and that'll kind of go along with one of the later concepts, which is how to avoid getting chips and cracks in your windshields. And then experimental research, basically after I explain what the different types of cracks and chips on the windshield are, we're going to test if we can apply what we know to multiple cracks. And if we can figure things out based on what we've done with one, if we can transfer that to another type. So cognitive domain and psychomotor domain and affective domain, that kind of also goes along with the see one, do one, teach one. Cognitive domain a lot more is with seeing me fix one of the cracks, and then psychomotor domain and affective domain have more to do with her doing her fixing the crack on her own and her teaching someone else to fix the crack. So stimulus and response, the crack is the stimulus. That's the reason that you are engaging in fixing it. And the response would be repairing the crack. So that's pretty straightforward. Operational conditioning and classical conditioning. So classical conditioning, I'll explain to her that when she starts driving, one of the things that she will kind of be conditioned to notice is that when a car makes a sound that you're not used to, typically something's wrong. And with a crack in the windshield, the sound that you hear is a loud, cracking noise. And so sometimes those cracks happen along the top end of the windshield that we can't really see. So even if she hears a sound, she's going to need to be classically conditioned, to assume that something has hit the windshield. And when she gets out of the car, she needs to check the windshield, even on the top, to make sure that there are no chips or cracks. And as far as operational conditioning, she will get good at fixing the cracks as she experiences more. And I'm assuming that she will experience quite a few chips and cracks in her windshield as life progresses. I have, at least. I'll share that with her, that I have, and I've gotten pretty good at fixing them, just because operationally I've had to do it a lot. So as far as transfer goes, I'm worried about a negative transfer between chips and cracks, because those two things have very different solutions. As far as chips go, you fill it in, you pressurize and fill it in completely. It's basically like filling up a cup of water. You just pour the resin into the crack until it's filled up, and you apply pressure. But with cracks, it's different. You have to apply a little bit of resin every couple of inches, and then the resin spreads from that point. I might have to break this into 2 different videos because I think I'm gonna run out of time. So neocortex, brainstem, cerebellum, and cerebrum are all going to have to do with how she interacts with fixing the crack, so her doing it. And I will do another video right now.